Hi everybody, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and I hope you had a fun, safe, prosperous holiday season. Today we're going to talk about knives. I'm excited today to talk about the most recent dark timber drop. But before we do that, I just want to take a minute to thank everybody that goes out of their way to watch the channel. The channel started as a way of me bringing the high country to my wife. My wife can't join me on my trips, and so it was a way for me to produce videos for her to be able to watch and sort of be there with me. So I appreciate the fact that all of you that watch enjoy the videos. I appreciate you watching, and for those that are readers of my High Country Chronicles, this channel will really be an extension of those High Country Chronicles. High Country Video Chronicles is how I like to see the channel. That said, a lot of the channel is going to be dedicated to gear. I am an avid knife person. I think knives are extremely important in the backcountry. So without further ado, we are going to take a look at the most recent dark timber drop. The drop was last Tuesday, and there were 4 knives that dropped. Technically 5 knives if you want to include the differences in the materials. I was able to get 4 of the knives. If I get the 5th knife, which is the Comanche, which is the one that I was really trying to get, I will review that on the channel. I'm going to review all the knives on the channel. Today is not going to be a review. I'm just going to talk about the knives. I guess it's going to be a first impressions video simply because I'm excited. I love dark timber knives. I think Peter Kohler and Kevin Fournier do a great job with their mid-techs. One of the things that I appreciate about Peter, and I've said this before, is the fact that he is a true woodsman. He goes out and he tests the knives, retests until he thinks he gets it perfect, and that's something that I really appreciate. So today, the knives that we're going to discuss are the new Bushy, the new Cave Bear in CPM 3V, the new Cave Bear in Nitro V, and my personal favorite, the Devil's Horn. I've got a lot of personal history with this knife. This is my all-time favorite dark timber design, and I've been eagerly awaiting for this knife to drop. It's been about a 2-year process, I think, and we can talk a little bit about more later on in the video. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the knives. We'll do some comparisons to some of my favorite knives, some of the knives that I currently carry, and some of the knives that I've recently reviewed. These knives, as I said, they just recently dropped, which means that you'll not be able to get them on the retail market currently. You're not going to find them at Knives Ship Free. You're not going to find them at Blade HQ. However, if you're interested in purchasing one, you may be able to find one on the Lords of the Steel Facebook page. Just know that with most dark timber knives, once they've dropped on the retail sites, they're going to command a premium on the secondary market. Fortunately, one of the things that Peter has planned for 2001 is to maintain a steady supply of the most sought-after knives. So, and I think details are still yet to come out, but I know that he wants to have a steady supply of 1911 Elites out there, steady supply of Honey Badgers. He did mention that he wants to have a steady supply of Comanches, which is the one knife that is missing. If you like what you see in this video and you're not a member of the Dark Timber Brotherhood, then I encourage you to go out on Facebook, join the Dark Timber Brotherhood. The way that you get these knives is going to be on the secondary market until they become a regular thing. So without further ado, let's look at some knives. The first blade we'll talk about today is the Bushy. The Bushy was meant to be a thinner bushcraft knife or an EDC knife. The Bushy is 9 inches of Nitro V, which means it's a stainless steel knife. It's got a 4-inch blade. It is 1.1 inches on the spine, which means it is a very thin knife. It's got a sharp spine. It also has jimping across the top. The thing that makes the dark timber jimping unique is that the jimping isn't cut into the top ridge of the knife like most knives. The jimping is cut along either side of the spine, and that makes it very, very comfortable. This particular knife has natural micarta scales. with a black liner. My understanding is that this knife was developed as sort of a hybrid between the Skinny Woodsman and the Tavi. Skinny Woodsman is the last bushcraft knife that Dark Timber put out. As I've said previously, this is probably the most underrated Dark Timber knife. This knife is 80 CRV2, which means it is not stainless. It will patina. It will rust on you if you don't take care of it. It's got a super sharp spine. If you're going to backpack, this is a knife that I would feel comfortable backpacking with. Now, it is a little bit smaller than my 5-inch standard, but it is very capable. You can see the pedigree here between the two knives. The blade shape on the Bushy and the Skinny Woodsman is very similar, as they're both bushcraft knives. The Bushy is 3/4 of an inch shorter than the Skinny Woodsman. It's also quite a bit thinner because Peter felt that many of the bushcraft knives that are on the market today are too thick, so he created one that was much thinner. At 0.11 on the spine, this knife is thinner than both the Skinny Woodsman and the Tavi. The Skinny Woodsman comes in at 0.185. I don't remember what the Tavi measures. The handle on the Bushy is just a little bit longer than the handle on the Skinny Woodsman. For someone like me with small hands, it doesn't matter. But for a person with larger hands, I'm sure that makes a big difference. The scales are also a little beefier, more rounded out. You can see the scales here are fairly flat on the sides. From the Tavi, the Bushy adopts the jimping along the side, as well as this lower guard portion, which you can see has been subtly incorporated here. The knife comes with what is a new to me sheath from Grizzly Outdoors. So Matt Nichols has been designing these for Peter for about a year now. This is the first time that I've actually picked up a knife that comes with this type of sheath. It's designed to ride high, but it has adjustment holes so that you can adjust it higher or lower based on your preference. The one thing about this is it conforms to your waist so that you can carry it without any pinching. So I like this. I have integral belts in my pants, and so this is going to be a great carry option for me. Okay, let's talk about the Cave Bear. The Cave Bear comes in two different versions. It comes in a Nitro V version, which is a stainless steel, and it comes in CPM 3V. Now, CPM 3V needs no introduction to knife fanatics. It's a very well-known, well-used, well-liked steel. It is not stainless, so it does require a little bit more maintenance, a little bit more care than something like this. Nitro V is new to most knife users. It's something that Peter's using more and more in his knives, but it's not something that a lot of other knife makers are using. Over the last year, Peter has found that Nitro V is every bit as capable as other steels when you put them through hard outdoor use. So he's put out two versions. The 3V version is exclusively with the acid etch. So any of these knives that you see out there, if it's a Cave Bear that is satin finished, it's going to be Nitro V. When Peter first introduced the drop, I was really excited about the Devil's Horn. I was really excited about the Comanche. I was a little curious about the Cave Bear because it is sort of, it is right in the same sort of size range as I've been thinking is, that I want for my my off-trail backpacking knife. Now, I've said in the past that this is sort of my gold standard in terms of backpacking choppers. I mean, this knife is light. It chops like nobody's business. The only issue that I have with it is that it won't spark a ferro rod. And so when I saw this, as you can see, they are, and this is the first time I'm comparing them, they are almost the exact same size. I guess the Cave Bear is maybe a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch longer. So it put it well within what could be, for me, a good backpacking chopper. Now the question is the weight. How much more than my Wilderness Barong does this way. The CPM 3V version of the Cave Bear with the green micarta and black ash beryl scales comes in at 1 pound 9 1/4 ounces. The Nitro V version of the Cave Bear with natural micarta scales comes in at 1 pound 9 ounces even. You can really feel that 5 or 6 ounce difference. This knife just feels so much lighter in the hand. The Cave Bear is 16 inches long. It has a blade length of 10 1/4 inches with a cutting edge of 9 1/4 inches. It is 0.25 on the spine. It's got the lanyard hole at the top. It has the horn here, like the devil's horn, which is a unique feature. It also has something called the amber notch. So as you can see right here towards the choil, Peter has created this little notch here, and what that does is it's used to spark a ferro rod. So I'll do a video on that later. The notch isn't simply cut into the blade. It actually has a slight bevel on either side, and so that'll catch a ferro rod and that'll spark a fire very quickly. The other interesting thing about this is, it does have a swedge, but in true Woodsman fashion, Peter has flattened the top of the swedge so it doesn't eat into a baton as much. In addition, the tip has been designed so that the swedge does not go all the way to the end. This creates a more robust tip, which if you're into looking for fat wood like me, that's something that you need. So I really appreciate seeing that. The handles have been designed to really lock your hand into the choil. You can see that the grooves here are angling down, and that brings your hand into perfect position on the choil. A quick size comparison between the Cave Bear and the OG Grizzly. The Cave Bear also comes with a sheath from Grizzly Outdoors. Now the one thing that is different about this sheath is it does not come with a belt loop, so you can't belt carry this sheath. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could contact Grizzly Outdoors and get a belt attachment. The hole spacing is pretty standard, and if you have an existing OG Grizzly or a Honey Badger, you could remove the belt attachment from that knife and use that on this sheath as well. Now, while I would probably carry this on my belt, most people probably wouldn't. They'd probably carry it on their pack or baldric style. And so this specific sheath has been designed for baldric carry. So it has these two straps here going across. It comes with this nylon and Velcro strap. The way this strap works is through a hook and loop system. On the ends, you have about 4 or 5 inches of the hook portion of Velcro, and then throughout the entire strap, you've got the loop portion. And so you can basically take this and stick it anywhere you want along the strap. And so you can very easily just thread the straps through these loops, fold it back on each other, and you've got yourself a baldric carry. And so you can carry that any way you'd like, and you can adjust it any way you want. When I carry this, if I use this, I'm going to carry it along my back. Just like that. I'll tighten it up so that I would probably carry mine really tight. There we go. Maybe with blade towards my head is not the best position. Now that I think about it, maybe I'll do it the other way. But this is how I would probably carry it. Yeah, I don't know if I want to take this out. Maybe not. But anyway, it gives you a lot of versatility on how you can carry this. Again, I'm going to have a leather sheath made, so I'm going to be carrying it on my hip. But with this, if I was ever going to carry, let's say I was going to carry this on my pack, and the skinny Woodsman on my hip, that's an option. Last, but by no means least, is the Devil's Horn. This knife is 80 CRV2, which means it is going to be an extremely tough knife. It is going to be a great heavy chopper. It will patina if not taken care of. So, you know, there is a possibility for rust if you don't take care of it, but that's not really something that I'm too concerned with. The Devil's Horn is 17.5 inches long. It has a blade that is just under 12 inches. It has a cutting edge that is just under 11 inches. It is similar to the Cave Bear in that it has the same sort of reinforced tip, similar swedge with flatness on the spine so that you're not eating into your batons. It has the amber notch. It has the aforenamed Devil's Horn. Again, the lanyard hole is at the top. Anyway, as I said before, this is my favorite knife. I have a lot of history with this knife. The first custom Devil's Horn that Peter made was for Greg Williams. I first saw that knife at one of the dark timber gatherings. I picked it up and I immediately fell in love. I mean, just the balance, the weight, the balance of the knife, the way that I was able to move with it, it just really spoke to me. That same year, Greg Williams brought his Devil's Horn to Blade Show. Now, what tends to happen at Blade Show is the dark timber knives sell out within minutes of the doors opening. But what will also happen is folks that have purchased knives at the show and folks that have purchased knives previously at the show will let Peter display their knives at the table so that people that are new to dark timber, they're not familiar with Peter's work, they can see knives that he's created. They're not for sale, but they're there for people to see. And that year, Greg brought his Devil's Horn, and I picked up the Devil's Horn again. And I said to Peter, you know, you really should make a mid-tech out of this. And so that day, every time I was at the table and somebody else approached, I'd pick up the Devil's Horn and I'd say to them, hey, do you think Peter should make a mid-tech out of this? And to a person, they all said yes. So slowly over the course of several days, I worked to plant the seed of the Devil's Horn mid-tech. And here we are 2 years later, and it's a reality. It is... I can't express how cool that is. Yeah. Now this version is sort of the modern version of Greg's knife. And so I absolutely love it. It's been really cool watching Peter develop this, watching the sort of different iterations that he's created of the Devil's Horn along the way. And I'm really eager to get this out and test it. The Devil's Horn comes with the same sheath and strap setup as the Cave Bear. So here's a quick size comparison between the Cave Bear and the Devil's Horn. The Devil's Horn, of course, being 1.5 inches longer. The handles are exactly the same. For folks that are interested in how the Bushy Wilderness Bowie, which I recently reviewed, stacks up against these two new dark timber knives, here's our Bushy Wilderness Bowie. You can see the blade length is pretty much the same as the Cave Bear. However, the Bushy Wilderness Bowie has a larger and longer handle, and total overall length is just shy of the Devil's Horn. I hope you liked that quick overview of the most recent dark timber drop. As I said, I'm really excited about these. I can't wait to get them out and use them. I would be using them today if it wasn't raining out. The drop was last Tuesday, so it is too late to get these on the retail sites. However, you should be able to find them on the Lords of the Steel Facebook page. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.